All right. Old Sarge Finkel here, literally on his way out the door to go help his sweetie do some stuff. And Raging Tomato, if you're watching, I think on our agenda is picking up stuff from IKEA. Uh, I might be single by the next time I come online. I don't know. IKEA makes me cry. Uh, I want to talk about there are some really good panels out there, Based Oracle and Raging Tomato. And they have some very interesting conversations, and I really like it. I'm sorry, TPP, I just can't get into your constant screaming matches. There are live streams out there that do open panels, and they're very high brow, high level intelligence, and low on the drama. There is drama. Anywhere you get two or more people chatting about any topic, there's going to be drama. I'm going to try my best to keep this under 5 minutes, and 1 minute have already gone by. On Raging Tomato, I want to say 2 nights ago. Here's the problem with open panels. People have very good discussions where people have very strong feelings and opinions. And if you don't watch them live, you don't get to say your piece. So I'm going to try and say my piece now. Already 1 minute, 23 seconds into it. Shoot, I'm running out of time. I might go over 5 minutes. My intention is to keep it under 5 minutes. I want to say 2, maybe 3 nights ago, Raging Tomato. And by the way, I'm only calling out the channel name, not the channel owner. Actually, Raging Tomato seems very level-headed, very intelligent, and very sincere in her opinions. But she had some panelists discussing whether or not religion moves morality, if your sense of morality is based on religion. And the trick question was, if you only had 2 choices, feed your child by stealing from your neighbor, or let your child starve by not stealing your neighbor. And there was a very well-informed duel between those who would feed the child and steal from the neighbor and those who would not steal from the neighbor. And the result was the child dies slowly, painfully, miserably of starvation. And people referenced their religion. I watched it in the when it wasn't live, so I'm like yelling at, not really yelling, but I'm commenting to myself at the screen for people who cannot hear me. I can't even chat because I'm watching it after the fact. But whoever came up with that question was kind of a genius. It's a stupid question because I do not believe there's ever a situation where those are the only 2 choices. I don't believe in the Kobayashi Maru. I believe there are always other options. But whoever came up with that question in that BS scenario was actually a genius, because both people who would let their kids starve and people who would steal from their neighbor in order to prevent the child from starving, both of them reference their philosophical and religious beliefs, quoting the same Bible. By the way, that's one of my problems with the Bible. It contradicts itself. There are Psalms that say, hey, feed the kid. There are commandments that say, hey, let the kids starve. But the answer to the whole question is yes. People's faith in a religion, and a man-made organized religion run by human beings, will weaponize it, will misconstrue it, and will let it guide their morals, or on the opposite side's opinion, their lack of morals, whichever. Religion does guide morality. Whether or not you buy into the nonsensical only 2 option question, starve the kid or rip off the neighbor. There's always more options, but I get the premise. The premise is, does religion guide morals? Yes, it does. Sometimes correctly, sometimes incorrectly, but basically, what is a moral? It is what you believe is right and wrong. Good morning, Money 420. Different 49. Okay, that's not mirrors. Okay. And I've only got 25 seconds late. Damn me. I got to get out the door. But that was on our Raging Tomato. I highly suggest you go to Raging Tomato, even the old live streams, if you want to get your head around some pretty interesting philosophical discussions, political, philosophical, religious, business, whatever. Now, if you want to, if Sunday night you need help getting to sleep, watch Raging Tomato on the Sunday night show. I like to call it Mellow Tomato. I don't know. She's got this soothing voice, and she's just very calmly and soothing responds to people in the chat. It's not really a panel. It's just her up there doing her thing, and she's really good at it. Another one, Based Oracle, great show. Also has some very interesting, lively conversations, and one I could not opine on, even though now I'm at 5 minutes and 30 seconds. My sweetie's going to beat me up. Yes, because I'm a beta male. Fuck you, Alphas. With Alpha 40, I can say fuck you, Alphas. I don't buy into that Alpha, Beta, Gamma bullshit. Where was I? Oh, yes. Based Oracle had a very interesting conversation about monopolies. And in my opinion, there are regional monopolies, and they hit really big on cable companies and internet service providers, which traditionally, locally, it is a monopoly. It's not a nationwide monopoly. I mean, there's Cox, there's Time Warner, there's Comcast. Sometimes there's smaller, more localized issues, and some of them were upset that those were localized monopolies and cronyism. I want to point out that there was a reason for it. Now, let me back up. I live in Fairfax County on a line that my community services belong to Fairfax County. My trash pickup, our school system, road maintenance, all that's Fairfax County. But the postal code is an Alexandria postal code. In Alexandria proper, not where I'm at, where you're actually in the jurisdiction of Alexandria, for a long time there was only one cable company, and that cable company was the only internet service provider. That was Comcast, I believe. I was in a similar situation with Cox, C-O-X, not the plural. Get your minds out of the question. C-O-X. I think my mom in upstate New York has Time Warner because there were no options. It was locally a monopoly. It's not because the company made a sweet deal with their cronies in the local government. It's a limitation of infrastructure. Up until very recently, to bring you a cable TV lineup or an internet access, you had a copper wire, a coaxial copper wire. And every couple of blocks that had to be amplified because the signal's being split among many, many houses. So you have amplifiers and signal boosters and copper wiring all over the place. As infrastructure gets better, we're seeing that ease up. Now in Alexandria proper, you have 3 cable companies you can choose from because they're burying more copper wires. More signals are being transmitted through fiber optic. You can feed my girlfriend lives in a complex of 3 9th-floor buildings, and there's probably 20, I'm guessing, probably somewhere between 10 and 20 units on each floor. So do the math. You got 9 floors times, let's say 10. There's more than 10, less than 20. 10 units and times 3. In those 3 buildings, you had, up until a few years ago, 20 or so amplifiers, signal boosters, because it was just Cox Cable. Well, now both Cox Cable and Verizon, what's the Verizon one? Fios. Now it's all fiber optic. There are now 0 repeaters in those 3 buildings. In fact, that whole neighborhood only has 1 or 2, and the neighborhood bleeds into a smaller community. Because infrastructure is getting better and people are using fiber optics instead of copper wiring, they're easing up. Now Alexandria, Virginia has more than 1 cable company. Another thing that's easing the load on it is how many people are actually watching cable through either copper or fiber optic. I'm watching stuff on Hulu. Even my local channels, I'm watching it through Hulu. Now, you're getting into another area where there is cronyism and capitalism and what do you call it? Almost monopolies. You can only watch on Hulu what Hulu allows, and they will have different standards for different channels as to what they will produce. But there's other live streaming. If you don't like Hulu, there's There's a dozen of them out there. Netflix, Amazon Video, blah, blah, blah. So that whole discussion around monopolies and cable companies, the ones where there is monopoly, it is infrastructure related. The ones where there isn't, they've improved on the infrastructure. They're burying their copper. They're using more fiber optic, and people aren't using coaxial cable delivered cable TV channels. But now I am double my time. It is good morning, Master Sergeant Retired. Loved your show. That's another one. I couldn't watch it live. Actually, I watched part of it live, but I had to head out the door. He had a follow-up on generally spastics. We're calling it an apology tour, a self-centered apology. There was nothing altruistic about that, but anyway, my sweetie's waiting. We're probably going to IKEA, and IKEA is going to make me cry. Guarantee it. I do have to get out the door. Thanks for showing up, all 7 of you. Cheerio. End stream.